Hi everyone, welcome to the second video lesson of week 4. We're going to be looking at rules and laws of logarithms now. So the previous one was looking at rules and laws of exponentials, and now we're looking at logarithms. So exponentials and logs are very similar. They are inverses of each other. So the rules that you're going to use are going to be very similar between the two. First, let's look at writing something in exponential form versus writing it in log form. So the equation that we're going to be using is right here, and it's also the second page of your packet, I think it is. It has a table that has all the laws on it if you want to refer back to that table as you're working through the video. So the first one we have is log base 4 of 64. That is currently in log form because it has the word, or whatever you want to call it, symbol log in it. I want to rewrite it into exponential form. So really this needs to have an equals x behind it. So I'll put equals x because I don't know what it equals. So in Miss Serio's class, I taught you all the snail. I don't know what Miss Lower, Mr. McGann, and Medina did, but I do something that looks like this. So the number that you get to first, the number 4, that's the base. This is log base 4, or the base of the exponent. The next number that you get to, the x that's up there, that's the exponent. Then you've got your equal sign, and then you've got 64. Right now, I do not want you to solve that. I literally just want you to write it like that and leave it. I'm just seeing if you can go from log form to exponential form. Okay, let's try going the other way now. So this problem down here, 6 squared equals 36, this is currently in exponential form. It's not in log form because you don't see the symbol or the word that says log. So I'm going to try to go from this into log base b of a equals x. I'm going to try to write it like that, okay? So the easiest part is the base. The base here is 6 because that's what has the exponent attached to it. So this is going to be a log base 6. The exponent here, this is representing x. And then the 36 that's here, this is representing a. So this is 36, and then the x is equal to 2. So this would be log base 6 of 36 equals 2. If you want to double check to see if you wrote this in log form correctly, just try to put it back in exponential and see if you match the original problem. So this would say 6 squared equals 36. That's what I got before, so I know it's correct. So this should be my log form. The other two problems in this section are for you to practice, so you can either pause the video now and try to do them, or you can go back and do them later. But the key that has the answers on it is on Google Classroom, so you can check. Okay, next we're going to look at the product rule. So the product rule, you can either expand something with it or you can condense something with it. Expanding means that you're going to make that statement longer, and condense means that you're going to make that statement shorter. So looking at our first example here, the reason it's called product rule is because whatever I'm taking the log of, in this case I'm taking the log of 4x, the two things that are being multiplied together in 4x is 4 and x. So it's called product rule because I'm multiplying what I'm taking the log of. So if I want to expand that, the formula I'm going to use is log base b of xy. That's the current form that we're in. I'm going to break it apart by using addition. Think about it related to exponents. When we did the section about exponents, when you were multiplying like bases, you added the exponent. In this case, I'm multiplying logs together, and I'm going to be adding whatever I'm taking the log of. So whenever you're doing multiplication, associate it with addition, okay? So this is going to be log base 6 of 4 plus log base 6 of x. In this case, log base 6 of 4, that's not going to give us a pretty whole number, so I'm not going to evaluate it. I'm just going to leave it. You can just leave it in this form here. Okay. The one below it that says expand log base 3 of 2y, that's practice. It looks just like the one we just did. Okay, let's try a condensing one. So let's look at the bottom corner here. Condensing means that I want to make it smaller. So right now, it is in this form. I guess I'll use the general rule. So I want to turn it into the opposite of what I did last time and make it as two things being multiplied this time. So this is going to become log base 3 of y times x, or you can just write it as log base 3 of yx. You could also write it as log base 3 of xy, because I can multiply in any order that I want to. So either of these answers would be acceptable. Now let's take a look at the quotient rule. So quotient means that whatever you're taking the log of is being divided. So here I have x divided by y. The way we break that apart is with subtraction. So again, thinking back to exponentials, when we did the quotient rule, whenever you had like bases that you were dividing, you subtracted the exponents. So associate division with subtraction. So let's try the first one. So this is saying to expand. So right now, this is log base b of x over y. I want to expand this and make it log base b of x minus log base b of y. So in my example, I'm going to have log base 6 of 2 minus log base 6 of x. And that's my answer. Okay, let's try this one down here. So this time we're going to be condensing. So right now it's in the long form. We want to make it look like log base b of x divided by y. I probably shouldn't have put equals there. I don't mean equals, I just mean this is the formula that we're going to be using to help us. Okay, so mine's going to be log base 3 of y divided by x. Okay, and that's your answer. Your answer is not log base 3 of x over y. X over y would be if the x was first and the y was second. This would be log base 3 of x over y. So make sure you're paying attention to where you're putting your variables. We've got the power rule next. The power rule, for those of you that are going to go on and take calculus, this is going to be your best friend. So it just means that if something is a coefficient of a log, it can be brought up into the exponent, and if something is an exponent, it can be turned into the coefficient. So let's look at this problem here. Right now, the coefficient that's in front of log base b of r is x. I can move that up into the exponent and make this log base b of r raised to the x. And that's it. That's literally all you have to do. Another one, right now on this problem, on this problem, the 5 is in the exponent. I can move that 5 to the front of the log. So this is going to be 5 log base 4 of x. And that's it. Okay, the last two are kind of challenge problems. They're going to be combining multiple rules for you to use at one time. So let's first identify on this problem, the expanding one, what's happening between the things in parentheses. Think to yourself, am I multiplying or am I dividing? Well, there's no symbol in between, so that means that we're multiplying. So I know here that I'm going to be using the product rule as one of them. Also, notice that you have the number 3 that's in front of your log. We just talked about power rule and how the coefficient in the front can be brought into the exponent. So I also know that I'm going to be using the power rule. So let's go ahead and use the product rule to break these apart. So I'm going to have 3 log base b of 4 plus 3 log base b of x. So notice that I've written the 3 in front of both log statements. That's because that 3 is being applied to the 4 and it's being applied to the x. So I can't just write it in front of one of them. I'm going to write it in front of both since the 4 and the x are both in parentheses. Okay, so the last thing that I can do is use power rule, and I can move the 3's that are in the front up into the exponent. So I'm going to have log base b of 4 to the third plus log base b of x to the third. I can do one more thing. 4 to the third power is going to give me a number. It gives me 64. And then I can bring down the log base b of x to the third. So that would be your fully expanded log statement. The next combined rule, this time we're going to be condensing and the logs are being subtracted. So I'm going to associate subtraction with division. So I know that I'm going to be using the quotient rule, and then I also have the numbers in front of the logs, so I know that I'm going to be using the power rule. Okay, I'm going to use the power rule first. So I'm going to move the 2 up into the exponent and the 4 up into the exponent. So I've got log base 3 of x squared minus log base 3 of y to the 4th power. And then I'm going to condense this down using the quotient rule. So I'm going to have log base 3. I'm going to divide x squared by y to the 4th power. At this step, the x and the y are two different bases. I'm not going to be able to combine those any further because they're not the same base of my exponential. So I'm going to just leave my answer like that. That is the end of the video lessons for this week. So the things that you should be working on now, you've got the practice problems that are in this packet. Those are not for a grade, it's just for you to kind of gauge where you are. And then you've got the reflection questions that are going to be posted on Wednesday. Remember that they are going to be posted on Wednesday and they will be due the following Monday. So just map it out one more time. It's on the front of your packet, but just so it's super clear. So on Wednesday, that would be for 15. On this day, you are going to have reflection questions are going to be released. On Monday, the following week, so that would be 4/20, the reflection questions are going to be due. And on that same day, there's going to be new material for week 5 that'll be posted. Okay. Then we're also going to post the key to the reflection questions. Okay. On Wednesday that same week, so that would be 4/22, you are going to turn in your corrected reflection questions. Okay, so this one is going to be on a Google form, and this one is going to be on a Google form. So all you have to do this week after you do these practice problems is fill out the original reflection question Google form. On Wednesday, or by Wednesday, you can do it earlier if you want, the second corrected reflection questions Google form should be filled out. So that's 2 Google forms that's going to make up your grade for this week, okay? I know this is kind of confusing. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible with submission and make it easier on you and us. If you have questions, please email your teacher. We'll try to get back with you and help you out as soon as possible. Y'all have a great day.